Our chairman in town, so I'm Vice Chairman Schuessler, and I'll be running the meeting. Would you all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, liberty and justice for all. For each matter that's on the agenda, the petitioner will make a presentation, the staff will respond, then we'll have comments from the audience, if any, and then finally the commissioners will have a chance to speak and we'll vote. So the first order of business is the approval of the minutes of the December 17th meeting. I would entertain a motion at this time.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the minutes as they stand for December 17th, 2024.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are approved.
Mr. Vice Chairman, we need to do a roll call, I think,
On the minutes?
on attendance.
Minutes are not necessary if there's no opposed, but is there any opposition or?
I'm sorry, I meant the roll call for the, who's in attendance.
Yeah.
Okay. As you can see, I don't normally run the meetings.
He's right on that one, for sure.
Okay, so let's take roll here. Commissioner Paul.
Here.
Commissioner Zamparelli.
Here.
Commissioner Sanchez.
Here.
Commissioner Nugent.
Here.
Chairman Parisi is absent. And Commissioner Zatar is absent.
Commissioner Schuessler?
Vice Chairman Schuessler is here. Okay, so we already approved the minutes. First order of business is to open public hearings for the estates at Ravinia Meadows. I'd entertain a motion. Is there a motion to open public hearing?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to
Commissioner
open.
Zamparelli,
I make a motion to open for public hearings, what is it, 2024-0676 Estates of Ravinia Meadows.
Second.
moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we have a number of individuals in suits out there. I assume that you're all from Pulte. So anybody from Pulte, I'd like you to stand up and be sworn in. Even if you don't intend to say anything, you might be asked questions where you'll have to answer. So we'll just swear you all in. That way we're all set. So
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you present tonight in this matter will be the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please say I do. I do. Thank you.
okay, so who is going to make the first presentation?
My name is Pat Wojtek. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Sossin, Arnold, and Schoenbeck. Members of the Plan Commission, village attorney, and staff, thank you for having us here tonight. As mentioned, this is the Estates of Ravinia Meadows. It is a planned residential community of 132 detached single-family homes, and it is on about 72.5 acres of property, mostly rectangular-shaped property that's immediately to the south of the Costco and about 161st in Ravinia, extending south down to about 165th Street. It is immediately to the west of some residential development. It's immediately to the east of the property, and east of that current existing residential development are a number of commercial properties along LaGrange Avenue, including the Marcus Theaters, there's a Hampton Inn, and a variety of other businesses that front along, yes, LaGrange Avenue. So the applicant seeks to be approved for 2 special uses and a variety of plan approvals. The first special use is for planned development in the R3 zoning district with one modification dealing with the width of the lots, although I will note that the total square feet of all of the lots meets the minimum requirements in the code. The second special use is disturbance of non-tidal wetland, and the approval plans are for the site plan, landscape, elevations, and subdivisions. A proper notice was given tonight by our firm in terms of notifying the area property owners, posting notices, signs at the north and south ends of the property. Village and village staff did the publication notice in the area publication. We would like to thank everyone for having us here tonight. Especially thank Sangeeta and the rest of her staff and development services. This has been about a 9-month effort and collaboration with a variety of plans and good feedback received from the village engineers, and then working with our team and responding to all those requests for modifications and changes and addressing all of those issues. So we're pleased to give our presentation tonight. We have obviously our team here to answer any questions that any of the commissioners may have. So first up, and the only one making an official presentation will be Fabian Fondriest, and he is from Pulte Homes, and he'll do a brief presentation showing some slides, and then we're all available, like I said, afterwards for any questions or comments that any of the commissioners have. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pat. Hello, everybody. My name is Fabian Fondriest. I'm the Land Acquisition Manager at Pulte Homes. Very excited to be here tonight to talk about our new future potential community, Estates Ravinia Meadow. So a little bit about Pulte. We are the nation's 3rd largest home builder. We have operations in 25 states. In Illinois, we have about approximately 20 active communities in the Chicagoland area. In 2023, in Illinois, we closed over 700 homes. In 2024, we closed over 900 homes, and we're excited to continue that growth here, potentially in Orland Park. This would actually be a return for Pulte to Orland Park. We have our Southmore community opened in 2003, just up the street of our proposed development next to the Palos Country Club at 131st and LaGrange.
Can you speak a little louder?
Yes.
Okay, you people in the back that can't hear, move up to the front, please.
A little bit about the site. So the zoning and aerial, as you can see, and as Pat mentioned, it is currently vacant land. It's about 72 acres at the southwest corner of LaGrange and 159th, just south of Costco along Ravinia Avenue. It is currently zoned R3, and that is the same zoning as what we are proposing for our community. Looking at the comp plan, the 2030 comp plan, the village also identified this parcel as future potential residential. The comp plan called for a mix of R3 and R4 zoning. As I noted, we are proposing entirely R3 zoning for this site. But one thing to note on this plan as well, as you can see, there's the future connection, road connection from Ravinia to 165th. As you'll see in our site plan, that is something that we're proposing in our layout for our community here. So this is our site plan. As Pat mentioned, it is 132 single-family detached lots. These all fit our 50-foot wide estates product on the series. The net density for this project is 2.3 units per acre. That's below the R3 code ceiling of 2.5 units per acre. We're also offering a variety of, or a large amount of common open space on this site. To go into the plan highlights a little bit. There's three call-outs that I certainly want to highlight here in this presentation. The first one, as you can see, is the playground on the southwest corner of our site. So Pulte will be dedicating over 3/4 of an acre to playground space. We will work with staff to design the playground. We will build this playground, and then we will dedicate it over to the village. One note on this playground and the playground location, staff had the great idea to put this in the southwest corner there against our property line on the site. Staff's vision, and they had the great foresight here of if the property to our west is ever developed, having the playground here creates a great opportunity for a future potential playground park expansion for the entire village to enjoy. The other highlight on the top right corner, you can see our tree preservation. There are quite a lot of trees on the site, a few different pockets. Our site plan, we worked to work around those trees to try to preserve as many as possible, fit around the contours of the existing site. In all three of our outlots, or excuse me, in all of our larger outlots where you could see trees, we're trying to preserve as many as possible, as well as planting additional trees throughout the entire community. The last item that I wanted to mention is our public trails, our walking path, multi-use path. We are going to be putting in and proposing over a mile of walking trail across the site. It'll be aesthetically diverse. You can start in our central outlot, walk through the tree-heavy area, get to our playground, and then you can continue on south, walk around our open water detention, walk down on the southern edge of our property is existing wetlands. And then if you would like, you can continue on to 165th, walk up to the Marcus Movie Theater, wherever. As far as this public trail goes, which means as far as this path is concerned, it will be owned and maintained by the HOA, but certainly open to the public, not just for our residents. It will be open for all Orland residents to enjoy. Moving on to our product. So for this community, we're offering 7 different product types, 7 different floor plans. As I mentioned, this is our, estates of Ravinia Meadow. This is our estate series. So these homes are all approximately 50 square feet. You can see the starting square footage of these products are 2,600 to just under 3,400 square feet. I say starting because with Pulte, we offer semi-customization of our homes. So home buyers can come in, potential home buyers can come in, select a floor plan they like, and then we have optional structural options that they can select from. Our most popular one is our sunroom. That's about 120 square foot sunroom that attaches, that can be structured to be built onto the back of our homes, typically next to the kitchen, cafe area, create a nice sitting area for folks. It's our most popular structural option by far. We also offer others such as for storage, flex rooms, or in storage spaces. We can turn those into in-law suites with ensuite bathrooms. As you can see here too, we also offer third car garage options on select floor plans. By no means are those our limit of what we offer, but those are just some of our more popular optional structural upgrades. On top of that, we also offer interior optionality, and so every home buyer comes to Pulte's office in Schaumburg. They have a 4-hour appointment with one-on-one appointment with our interior design consultants to walk through the entire interior product selection. So cabinetry, countertops, what have you. And so it's a really dedicated experience. So by the end of the process, by the time folks are moving into their homes, it really is a semi-custom home that their fingerprints are on in the structure. And so because of that, the starting bed, the starting bath, all these start at 4 and 2.5. However, depending on what the selections you pick, those numbers might go up from there. As additionally, our garages, as you can note, all of our floor plans come to standard 2-car garage. For 5 of our plans, we do offer a 3rd-car garage add-on. And then finally, the last column there is our elevations. So as you can see, for each floor plan, we offer a variety of elevations. And what that really does is it allows us to create a diversity of product across our community. So it's not a monotonous community by any means as you walk through. We offer a variety of floor plans, a variety of elevations, and then with each elevation, we have 40 or so color palettes that you can choose from. And so it really is a diversity of home product in our communities. The next few slides I'm going to go through pretty quickly here. The point of this is with the elevation package that we submitted. I know those were in black and white. What I have on the left is the black and white, and on the right is the color rendering, so you can see what our products look like if you were to walk through one of our communities, and also see some of the options we have in terms of color packages. Again, what you see here is by no means the extent of our options. We offer a variety of color packages on our products. So the first 2 are Greenfield and our Hilltop. These are our 2,900 square foot starting units. The Riverton and Westchester, those are about 3,300 square feet. The Willwood and the Woodside, also around 3,300. And then finally our Castleton, which is just under 3,400 square feet. So that's all I have. I appreciate your time. We're very excited at the possibility of coming back into Orland. As Pat mentioned, our entire team is here. We are rolling deep tonight with everybody, all of our consultants who helped work on this project, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have as they come up. Thank you.
Is there anybody else from Pulte that wishes to say anything at this point, other than questions later?
That's it on our presentation, yes.
All right, staff, you have anything to add to the presentation?
We have our own presentation that we'll just go through. So
Go ahead.
I respectfully request the staff report to be entered into the record as written and as presented. What you're seeing up on the screen is pretty much, I think we'll be covering some ground that Fabian has already covered, but that is the project site. We have access from Ravinia on the north, and then from 165th Street on the south. To the east of the property are two subdivisions, which is the Hummingbird and the Misty Ridge subdivisions, and to the west is the Good Shepherd Catholic Cemetery. To the north of the property is the Costco development, and between Costco and the project site is a stormwater management facility. In the comprehensive plan, the future land use for this area is designated as mixed residential and single-family residential, which is pretty much R3 and R4 zoning districts. And like Fabian mentioned, the comprehensive plan indicates an extension of Ravinia Avenue connecting to 163rd Street. And the plan also depicts a future road running through the project site, bisecting the property into R3 and R4 districts. The requested actions in this petition include an approval of a special use permit for a planned development with modifications from the Land Development Code, a special use permit for disturbance of a non-tidal wetland, approval of the preliminary site plan, landscape plan, engineering plan, building elevations, and subdivision. The site plan indicates 132 dwelling units and 6 outlots. The total site area is 72 acres, and the net buildable acreage is about 56 acres. The allowable density for an R3 zoning district is 2.5 dwelling units per net acre, and the proposed density is below that threshold. It sits at 2.35 dwelling units per net acre. The petitioner is providing approximately 14 acres of open space, which amounts to about 35% of the total site area, thus meeting and exceeding the open space requirement. Similarly, the proposed lot coverage of the lots is 35%, which is under the maximum permitted lot coverage of 45%, thus giving the homeowners some leeway to add patios and decks and a pool, etc. in the future. The petitioner is seeking a modification in the minimum lot width. In the R3 zoning district, the minimum lot width is 80 feet, and the petitioner is requesting a reduction in the lot widths to 75 to 77 feet for standard rectangular lots and to 66 feet for lots with curved frontage. On the map, the lots with a curved frontage are colored a light orange. There are about 15 lots which require the 66-foot modification. During the plan reviews, staff recommended that the petitioner create a serpentine layout for the roads as a traffic calming measure, which in turn has resulted in lots with a curved frontage. Overall, all the lots conform to the minimum lot size requirement, about 10,000 square feet. The lots in the development range from 10 to 16,000 square feet. As an incremental improvement, the petitioner is providing 14 acres of parkland, which is more than 3 times what is required by the Land Development Code. Additionally, the petitioner is installing an approximate 1 mile long multi-use path connecting the ponds, the open space, and the playground. Hence, staff recommends approval of this modification. In looking at the parkland improvements, the plan here highlights the open space in the site plan, which amounts to about 14 acres. Outlots A and B are located along Ravinia Avenue, and Outlot B will house a monument sign for the development. Outlot C in the middle of the development is about approximately a 4-acre common open space. And Outlot D contains a stormwater management facility. The on-site detention areas, along with the surrounding retaining walls and the multi-use paths, will be maintained by the HOA. The playground on Outlot F will be constructed by the petitioner. per the village's specifications, and the outlot, along with the playground, will be maintained by the village. All the other outlots will be maintained by the HOA. Like Fabian mentioned, staff recommended that the outlot F with the playground be located along the western boundary of the site, providing an opportunity for the playground to be combined into a larger playground if and when the parcel to the west is developed. In terms of stormwater management, in 2005, an agreement was signed between Costco and the Catholic Bishop of Chicago, the previous owner of the subject property. This agreement permits the stormwater from the northern portion of the site to drain into the stormwater management facility to the north of the site. This facility is maintained by Costco and has a storage volume of approximately 20 acre-feet. The stormwater in the southern portion of the site is managed with 2 detention ponds on Outlot D with a storage volume of approximately 71 acre-feet. The petitioner is also requesting a special use permit for the disturbance of a non-tidal wetland. The project site contains 6 wetlands, 5 of which are isolated non-Army Corps jurisdictional wetlands. One wetland under the jurisdiction of the Army Corps, which is Area 4, measuring about 6 acres, is an emergent wetland which is adjacent to Marley Creek on the southern portion of the property. However, there will be no impact to this wetland Area 4. The proposed development will impact about 0.6 acres of wetlands on areas 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 by either direct or indirect impacts. The impacted wetlands will be mitigated off-site at an approved wetland mitigation bank with permitting through the Army Corps and MWRD. The petitioner is coordinating the off-site mitigation and will secure the necessary credits. The petitioner intends to offer 7 model floor plans. The home sizes range from 2,600 to 3,400 square feet. The elevation renderings demonstrate that the face brick or stone requirements of the Land Development Code are met. Facade colors and material palettes for each unit are designed to prevent visual monotony within the development. And in accordance with the village's design standards, all the side elevations of units that are visible from public view are to be enhanced with windows, shutters, and soldier coursing above the windows to match the front elevations. Additionally, the staff worked with the petitioner to ensure compliance with requirements that limit the overall width of the garages to be less than 55% of the total building width. The petitioner submitted an anti-monotony exhibit which delineates the layout of the unit types and the color packages in the following manner. No house shall have the same configuration as an adjacent home or the 3 homes directly across the street. Similarly, no home shall have the same color package as a home on either side or directly across the street. The landscape plan has been reviewed and recommended for preliminary approval. Any outstanding landscape items will be addressed after board approval. Similarly, the preliminary civil engineering plan is also recommended for approval. A lighting plan, along with the establishment of a special service area for stormwater management, will be required after board approval. Lastly, the petitioner also seeks approval of a plat of subdivision for the planned development. All lot sizes conform to the requirements outlined in the code, and the final plat will be approved by the Board of Trustees. Staff recommends to accept and make findings of fact as discussed in this Plan Commission meeting and within the staff report dated January 3rd, 2024. Staff recommends approval of the special use permit for a planned development, approval of the preliminary site plan, landscape plan, engineering plan, building elevations, subject to standard conditions. Staff also recommends the approval of modification to allow for the reduction in minimum lot widths from 80 to 75 to 77 feet for standard lots and 66 feet for the lots with curved frontage. And staff does recommend approval of the plat of subdivision. Here's the staff recommended motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll hear from anybody in the audience that has a statement to make or questions. Just a minute, just have a seat. The rules for this are the same as the rules that the village board has. Anybody who speaks has to be sworn in first. You'll then have 3 minutes to address the commission. There's going to be no back and forth between the commission and anybody addressing the commission. But if you have questions, we'll take your questions. And after we've heard from everybody who wants to speak, then I'll ask either the staff or the petitioner to answer the questions. Okay, so ma'am, you're in the front, and you're closest to the microphone, so go ahead. First of all, you have to be sworn by the attorney.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you present tonight will be the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please say, I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, and then for the record, would you give your name and address, please?
My name is Sharon Barta. I'm representing my father, who owns some adjacent property to this proposed housing development. And our concern is, where is the water going? Because every time, my father's owned this land, the 10 acres, just, if I could.
Just describe what you're talking about.
Ravinia ends on my father's property. My
Okay.
father owns that approximately 10 acres, that narrow strip, right there, okay? And we've owned that property, it's been in our family for over 50 years. And every time something gets built around us, the water is being dumped on our land. And what used to be 100% farmable land is now got a center area that the Army Corps is calling wetland, 3 acres of wetland. It's now recently full of Phragmites. It never had Phragmites. I'm a botanist. I know what was growing out there all my whole life. Sedges, and there was a spot that was low, but it was farmable. Well, if you look at that Costco storm pond, has anybody from your group actually been out there and walked around that pond?
Okay, you can make a statement. if
Okay,
you want.
because it's full of mud. It's not maintained. So when you say you're going to dump storm water into the Costco mud puddle, that's not going to work, because I'll tell you what happens right now. When it rains, that Costco mud puddle backs up under Ravinia, there's a culvert, and all that water flows across my father's land. So Costco is not maintaining that mud puddle. So if you think you're going to dump all the water from 132 houses and all those roads, I don't care about the trees, I don't care about the trails, I don't care about any of that. I care about where the water's going, because I don't want more water being dumped on my father's property. So can you please address this?
Okay, so
Where's the water going?
all
Have
right.
you been out
all
there?
right,
Have you
all right.
walked it? Do you know?
I told you, we'll don't keep looking back at them,
Okay,
because
but
we'll
I'm
address
just
it.
saying, I'm not against developing housing.
Okay.
But I'm against dumping water on other people's property.
All right, so you have two questions. Number one is how the water is going to be handled on the site so it doesn't impact your father's property.
We're already impacted by Costco, but this is a David
Let me
and
finish,
Goliath
please.
situation that we can't
Let me
fight.
finish, please. Your second question is a statement that the Costco pond is not being maintained. Is that correct?
Not maintained and not adequate. It's not even adequate for Costco's footprint.
All right, you've got another minute, and then your 3 minutes is up. So do you have anything else to say?
I want to know where the water's going. Who can tell me?
Ma'am, I told you we would answer your question after everybody has a chance to address the commission or to make a statement. Do you have anything else? You've got about 50 seconds left here.
Yeah, this has been going on for 50 years. First it was Best Buy, then it was the housing development behind us, then it was Costco, and now we got another development. And for 50 years, water's been dumping on our land. And now they're telling us we have 3 acres of wetland when it was 100% farmable 50 years ago. So that's my grievance. Stop dumping water on us. It's not even a low spot. If you look at the topography maps, it's not the lowest spot in the area. So I don't even understand why this is happening. but I want the water to stop being dumped on us. So I want this addressed. I don't want this to go in if it's gonna mean now we're gonna have 4 acres of wetland or 5 acres of wetland, and pretty soon we have a piece of land that maybe was worth several $1 million at one time is worth nothing because now it's all man-made wetland.
Okay.
That's our grievance.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to address the commission or has questions? Yes, sir. Come up and be sworn in, please, and give your name and address.
Hi, good evening. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you present tonight in this matter will be the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please say I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Your
Hi,
name and address, please.
my name is Bob Stewart. I live on 16234 Hummingbird Hill Drive. So this development backs up to my house.
Okay.
I was wondering if there's any provisions for a berm breakage between our properties. We've got a very small backyard. And how far are the houses going to be from that property line?
Okay.
And I was
Question
also,
regarding the berm, okay.
maybe some greenery or fencing or whatever, whatever's proposed. I was just wondering if anything was going to happen in that direction. The other thing, during the construction period, since we live right there, it's pretty dirty just when it was farmland. Now, if it's going to be all turned over and be under construction, what is the contractor going to do to prevent the dirt from blowing around during dry conditions and stuff?
Okay.
And is there a traffic plan for this? Is it going to stay with the north and south traffic on 165th Street? I heard stories about Ravinia being pushed through to, 97th Street? So is that definite or not definite at this point?
The village would like to put Ravinia through to 161st Street. That's the long-range plan for that to happen at some point. Right now, the southern exit out of this subdivision is 165th Street.
Okay, and that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. You had a question regarding the berm, and then you were concerned about dirt during construction. Is there anybody else, sir? Just a minute, you'll get your chance. Go ahead.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you present tonight in this matter will be the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please say I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Your name and address, please.
Daniel Bragley, I'm at 9722 Hummingbird Hill.
Okay. Do you back up also to the subdivision?
I do.
Okay.
My only concern is traffic. We had nothing but problems when the village put that hotel and shoved it down the homeowners' throats. That 5-story hotel, which is a fiasco, is a joke. There's no traffic light there. Traffic is coming down 94th Avenue, 97th Avenue. It's just a pain in the neck. We have to file complaints constantly. They told us there'd be no semi-traffic coming down 97th Avenue, and it's constant going to the hotel. They were not to use 97th Avenue, and they keep using it. So we filed complaints. The Public Works said, no, that street is not limited for truck traffic. I said, then why isn't somebody out here? Orland Park Police Department sees them using it and doesn't do anything about it. Where is traffic gonna go? They told us 161st. They said that there'd eventually be a light put there at that intersection. That is a death waiting to happen. Orland Park is gonna wait until somebody gets killed at that intersection. Now you're gonna pile 132 more homes on it that people are gonna try to get out that way, and it's gonna cause nothing but fiasco. Why, if you're gonna put that kind of project in, why can't you have IDOT, why can't IDOT do something about it before the project starts? Why can't there be a light put in there? You got cars dodging out of traffic there. There's nothing there to stop it. There's accidents constantly there. And if they were so concerned about this development going in, why in the world can't they contact IDOT and say, hey, we need a light put at that section before our project starts to be safe for the homeowners? Doesn't seem like anybody cares except for piling the houses in on us and not caring about the traffic flow. We have a problem with traffic flow right now with that hotel. It's totally a joke. And when we brought that up at the meeting with the mayor, his answer to everybody was, nobody told you to move in there. Hell of an answer to give to the homeowners that pay taxes in Orland Park. And when we asked him if he would like a 5-story hotel built in his backyard, he had no answer for us. We'd like answers before this project is accepted and approved. How's traffic gonna come through there? Where's all this traffic gonna go? You got 132 houses, that's a lot of traffic coming through. You figure every homeowner is gonna have at least 2 vehicles.
Okay, if you look at the plan, I'll answer that question for you. If you look at the plan, there's 2 ways the traffic will get to this subdivision, and it doesn't go through your subdivision. They can get to it off of Ravinia from the north or off of 165th to the south.
If Ravinia goes through.
No, they can get to it off Ravinia as Ravinia exists right now.
You can't get to 165th from Ravinia right now.
They can get to the north end of the subdivision from Ravinia.
Right.
Okay? The south end of this subdivision will exit onto 165th. So anybody who wants to go to the south end can come in off 165th. If they're coming from the north, they can come down Ravinia. They don't go through your subdivision.
So they're not gonna use 161st Street at all,
No,
what you're saying?
no.
No.
Now, later on, if Ravinia is put through to 161st,
Well, that was the plan.
then that would be another way.
That was the original plan before the hotel got built, that Ravinia was going all the way through 161st Street, and 161st would be renamed Ravinia. It wouldn't be 161st. That never happened.
Okay. Later on, let's have the village engineer talk about that, but I'm pretty sure he's going to say that the long-range plan is for Ravinia to be extended to 161st Street and for a traffic light to be put in at 161st and LaGrange Road. And the reason that traffic light wasn't put in when LaGrange was widened is there wasn't enough traffic at the time to justify the traffic light.
There's not enough traffic there now with the hotel and everything.
Well, they'd have to do another study, but they're called warrants. You have to have a certain amount of traffic that goes through the intersection during a certain period of time to justify a traffic light.
Well, you're telling me the same thing that was told to us before the hotel went up. You're telling me the exact same thing. There's a study, and Ravinia is going through 161st, blah, blah, blah. It's in the plans. Everything's in the plans, but the major plan is build this development and wait to see what Ravinia does, and we'll wait and see where we go with Ravinia. So it's all an after effect. It's all, we'll build the development, and then we'll worry about traffic later.
Okay, I think your 3 minutes are up. Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
There, Nick. You go on up.
You're next.
I'm not much for speaking,
Can you raise your right hand, please?
but my property,
Oh, just a minute. You have to be sworn in.
go for it.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you present will be the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please say, I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, would you give your
Own that
name,
property.
please? Your name and address?
The what?
Your
Name and address.
My name is John M. Shermack Jr. I bought that property in Orland Park 35 years ago.
Are you the father of this lady here?
The what?
Okay, so now we're talking about the same parcel that you described.
Yeah.
Okay, so-
I got 9.6 acres right next to Costco's property.
Okay, so you own the parcel where Ravinia ends right now, is
Yeah,
that
the
correct?
one with they're dumping the water on, right. If that pond at Costco fills up, and now it's so full of wood, so full of mud, that it fills up right away. Then all the water from the parking lot, from Ravinia, everything runs into my property. Why they ever allowed it to go east when the water always ran west.
Okay, your daughter explained that to us. Do
I
you have
can
any,
show you, I can show you the drawing.
do you have anything to add other than what your daughter told us?
See what?
Do you have anything to add in addition to what your daughter told us about your property and the Costco pond?
Okay, yeah, but what I'm trying to tell you is that the water never should have gone on my property. They also dumped the water. They got a water line running under the road, running on Petey's property. They devalued Petey's property from $30 million down to $13 million because they flooded it. If you look at 159th Street, if any one of you has driven by over there and looked at that, what they did in the state of Illinois, they took that road, they built in front of my property, they raised it 6-8 feet. Then they went down, the sidewalk goes down like this, they built it so that the water runs right on our property. What this village is trying to do is make that property a pond like you got next door here. Now, nobody can tell me any difference.
Okay, put the microphone in front of your mouth, please, so.
Another thing I'd like to tell you is...
I'm out. Put the microphone in front of your mouth so we can record this.
These houses...
Put the microphone in front of your mouth, please. Thank you.
Okay, these houses that they're wanting to build up there, next to all them beautiful homes, these houses don't hold a candle to those beautiful homes, and they're gonna build this garbage right next to it. I'm a builder all my life. Don't let them build them buildings up there. They're garbage. Believe it.
Okay, thank you. Gentleman in the back row.
Thank you.
My other right?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you present tonight will be the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please say I do.
I do.
Thank you.
So Jerry Kimmick, 16514 Garnett Court, we're in Tierra Glen. So my concern is the traffic. So you say that you're gonna take 165th and that's going to be the southern exit for the subdivision. So my concern is we've got 21 homes, they're townhomes. It's a senior citizen. Very difficult if you're gonna have traffic coming through there to get out. There is no light on 165th. So you have to go to, north on, by the Marcus Theaters to get out. So is there going to be a light put on at 165th to get out? So that would be the first question. The traffic's gonna be difficult for seniors to get out of our subdivision if you have that much traffic going through. I'm maybe not so concerned about the 132 homes that are being built now, but does the company do they own any additional property? And if there's going to be further development, is there going to be other areas to get out as far as either east or west? So my concern is maybe the 132 isn't a huge problem, but if you don't put a light, we've got a lot of traffic getting in and out of 165th today especially to go north is very difficult. You have to go in the light, and the light takes a very long time. So I'd like to at least, have someone address the amount of traffic. The other thing is, what are the average prices of the homes that are going in? So I'd like to understand that. We paid significant dollars for our home. I'd like to make sure that the property values in the area continue to go up. Our taxes are going up, and I just want to make sure that whatever Orland is putting in, it's important that we hold the values of not only the townhome that I live in, but the ones that are north of us. So I think it's important that we take a look at that. Love to understand what other developments are being considered for the other areas, just west of where these homes are going in. Again, we love that we have deer in our backyard, we have stuff. it's incredible. And I just feel like we're going to lose some of that because now we're introducing more development in that area. And it's just going to be just more loud, more traffic, a lot of problems. So, just like to understand what, Orland is doing to help us with that. That's all I had.
Okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you present tonight in this matter will be the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please say I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Actually.
Your name and address,
Oh, I'm
please.
sorry. Mary Lou Sipple, 16319 Chickadee Circle, right behind where the planned development is planned for. My first concern is what everyone's has been, is the traffic. We're right at 163rd, right where Marcus is, and within the last 2 weeks, if you go and you look at your police report, there have been 2 pretty severe accidents where you couldn't even get in or out at 163rd. So I do want to put that as a priority, even from my perspective. The second one is the base price of the home, which is interesting because I had that on my list also, in what is the base price and what is the range of the price of the homes. The third one, has any thought been given to the amount of students that are going to be coming in and going into districts 130, 135, and 230? For many years, I was on the finance committee for 230. I'm very aware of the planning that's involved in getting students into the schools. So has there been projected as to number of students coming in, when they will be coming in, how that's affecting our school district? And then finally, the last item I have is the services. How is it going to affect our police department, our fire department? How many more individuals are going to need to be hired for the amount of homes that are coming in? And is that part of the plan too?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who would wish to address the commission or have any questions? Yes, sir. Raise
Good
your right
evening.
hand.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you present tonight in this matter will be the truth and nothing but the truth? If so, please say I do. Thank you.
Your name and address, please.
Tim O'Shea, 16260 Hummingbird Hill Drive.
Okay.
I had some questions on when it's going to start, when they plan on starting it, and when they plan on finishing it. And back of my property goes up to the farm. And if they're going to put fencing in or anything like that, and basically that's it.
Okay, we can answer those questions real quick.
Okay.
Just have a seat and we'll,
Thank you.
okay, so some of these questions are going to be for staff and some of them are going to be for the petitioner. Let's take the couple of these petitioner ones that are pretty easy. I'm sorry, I can't remember your name. Fabian, yes.
Fabian, yeah, you're not, it's a tricky one.
I know, I know your last name starts with an F, but I can't remember what it is. Fabian. Price points, yeah.
Yep. So the price points, our base prices will start in the mid to high sixes, and all in, we expect to be selling in the low 800s. So after the optional structural upgrades are selected, these homes will be all in the low 800s. They will start in the mid to high sixes.
600,000. 600,000.
To 800,000 in the low 800s.
When do you, assuming that you get approval, when do you anticipate starting the project?
Yep. So assuming we get full approvals this year, we would probably start moving dirt in late summer, early fall of this year. And then it would be, it's going to be probably about a three and a half year project after that. So it would be 2028, 2029.
Okay, the finish date is as quick as people buy the houses, so that's the hard one to answer, right?
Yes, it's once we've sold through the entire community,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. So to answer the question, they anticipate starting, if it's approved, late summer, and they think it'll be a 3-year project before they've sold all the houses, correct? Three and a half years?
Yep.
Okay. As far as the number of students, I believe that's an easy one. The village has an ordinance that requires a developer to make a contribution to the school districts, both school districts, 135 and 230. It's based upon the number of students who will be projected, based on the number of bedrooms, I believe, and it's all a mathematical calculation, and they'll have to make those contributions to the school districts. So that takes care of
A
those.
fence or screening? That's what they're asking. The fence
The
or
eastern border with the townhomes, will there be any fence, screen, or berms with it?
Yeah, well, there's a whole bunch of other questions.
Oh, all right, I was trying to help you out.
You get to run the next meeting. Talked about the students, okay. We talked about the cost ranges. There was a question regarding the additional staff. We don't know how many additional staff we'll need. Might not need any this is not a large subdivision as far as subdivisions go. If additional staff are needed, of course, the village board would hire additional police officers. I happened to be on the village board at a time for 17 years when there was a lot of growth, and it was like every year we were adding police officers and adding additional staff. So it depends upon what happens with other developments as to how quick the village would add additional staff. If they're needed, they would add them. But that's a village board decision. That's beyond our pay grade here. Okay, some questions, engineering questions regarding traffic lights. Here's an easy one. What does Pulte intend to do to minimize the dust in the air during construction?
Yep.
How do you plan to minimize that?
So Pulte has our own corporate standard erosion control plan, which actually goes above state requirements. So not only do we meet state, municipality, but obviously state requirements, which are even more stringent, we have our own process and standard that we hold ourselves to for these projects.
Okay. I can tell you, I live in a condominium now, but I lived in a house for a long time over on Ridge Avenue. No, you had a chance to speak and ask questions. We're going to finish. At the end, No. At the end, I'll give you a chance to say something, but we can't have this back and forth between the audience and the commission. You don't have to write them down. I'll give you a chance. What was I going to say? I lived in a house. I lived in a house at one time. It was across the street from a development which later on was called Crystal Tree. It was a 300-acre farm when we moved in. And then Crystal Tree came along. There will be dust. They'll do their best to minimize it. They have state requirements to meet, local ordinance to meet, but there's no way you're going to entirely avoid the dust. It's just going to happen. It happens whenever you have a development. So they can't totally avoid it. They'll do their best to minimize it. Okay. So there are questions, Peter, regarding the Costco pond. Has the village studied the Costco pond, and is it operating the way it's supposed to operate?
You have to go through the chairman.
Yeah, the village did hire an engineering company to assess all the village and private owned ponds. So I could definitely take a look and see if they had any kind of comments on their assessment with the Costco pond. As far as like the stormwater, when reviewing their plans, all the stormwater goes to that pond in the north of the plan, to the existing Costco pond. And, regarding John's, lots of comments, I mean, that's definitely something that we can look at afterwards, because I'm not sure which kind of topo map you're referring to, so,
Is your engineer here tonight?
He is, yes. Our
Can
whole
you
team's-
address the issue of potential flooding?
My name's Chris Borgart with Semcon, 2280 White Oak Circle in Aurora. So as far as what drains to the Costco pond right now, there's about 20 acres in the north that goes straight into that pond. And basically, we're going to be maintaining that same acreage. We're actually going to reduce it by about an acre, but about 70, probably 50, well, a little over 50 acres will be draining to the south to our detention basins that we're proposing.
Okay, so you're saying right now, there's 20 acres that goes
go-
into the pond right now,
Yes, correct.
and the same 19 acres is gonna,
Yeah, it's just slightly less than an acre. 19 acres is going to be going to that pond, so we're going to be reducing it by about an acre. I don't know that that's going to do much for that situation. And of course, we haven't studied the Costco pond because it was just, the agreement is that we have the right to have 20 acres drain to that pond, which is what goes there now.
okay. So village engineer, how do we know that this project is not going to cause flooding? These individuals have indicated that the Costco pond doesn't adequately handle the water right now, and now we're going to have houses built on it with roofs and driveways and so on. So what guarantee or what representation do we have that this development is not going to exacerbate what is alleged to be a problem?
Hi, Aladdin Hussein, village engineer. I'll preface this by saying I don't have a ton of history with this project. I've been here less than 2 months. We can, again, as Peter said, we can look at the Costco pond and what drainage that provides. But I think as for the rest of the site, how it drains, and I can defer to the petitioner on this, but I believe in the back lots there on the east, they have storm sewer and a retaining wall along along the east side that prevents gives a physical barrier to the water, and then it is draining to the Costco pond, and again we can look at if that's adequate, but I don't know that we can say we have a guarantee. Based
Can
on
I expand a little bit?
Sure.
So when the Costco pond was designed and built, it was designed for 20 acres of our site. And that, I believe.
But that was 20 acres of vacant
No,
farmland.
no. The agreement allows for 20 acres at 76% impervious. So that Costco pond is designed for 20 acres on our property at 76% impervious area.
Okay.
And we're sending 19 acres at 48% impervious. So we're actually, should be reducing the runoff to that pond with this development.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Costco is in charge of the maintenance of that pond, and maybe that hasn't been
Okay,
ongoing,
so the answer to your question is, this development will not cause additional water
Correct.
to go into the pond than what's going in now. Your point is that the pond is not adequate because it's not properly maintained. That is something that has to be looked at immediately, and the village engineers will do that. But as far as we're concerned, what they're proposing actually is going to make it better than it was, okay? Because it was supposedly designed for 78% impervious, impervious being roofs, driveways, concrete streets, and they're going to have 48% impervious. But the village engineer will take a look at that, the village engineers, and we can get back to you with the answer as to what the problem is, if there is a problem there. Okay? Another question for engineering had to do with traffic lights, and I believe you did a traffic study.
We did do a traffic study, yes. It was reviewed by staff, no comments on the traffic study itself. But again, just to reiterate our two, and I know you mentioned this earlier, our two entrances are off of Ravinia and then also off of 165th, so there shouldn't be any cutting through. I know that was a concern, but our entrances are.
Yeah, so there'll be no cut-through traffic in the subdivision to the east. Okay, Peter, did you review the engineering study, the traffic study?
Yeah, and staff found no comments. Regarding the projected traffic counts, we found that adequate. And, I think there was some conversation with the 161st connection and,
Well, can you expand on how the subdivision is going to affect the traffic at 161st, not 161st, I'm sorry, at 165th and LaGrange and at Ravinia and 159th?
I mean, can we zoom in on the 100 on the south side there, 165th? There wasn't found to be much traffic.
Okay, what you've got up there, is that the traffic study?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's showing in the Saturday peak hour, that's the one in brackets, and then I think the parentheses is just the PM peak hour, and then the number that's not in parentheses is the AM peak hour. I believe that's accurate. So it's not showing a ton of traffic being generated. And I believe they looked at this, I know we're looking at 165th now, but I believe they looked at both the existing traffic without the Ravinia extension, and then they also looked at the traffic that would be generated with the Ravinia extension, and it wasn't shown to generate, at least 165th wasn't shown to generate too much traffic. As for, there's a question of putting a signal there. I mean, LaGrange is a IDOT route that would have to go through them, and like you mentioned, it would have to pass a warrant analysis, which has usually like a high barrier to warrant a signal. So, yeah, I'm not sure it would really warrant a signal. But
So are what you saying that the traffic study, and giving it to us in English and not engineering language, is that this subdivision will not generate sufficient additional traffic to warrant a traffic signal at 165th and LaGrange?
it would, I'm not saying that for certain. I'm saying that it would have to be studied, and they'd have to look at what the warrants are, but I would guess it wouldn't.
We have our traffic engineer here. I have the conclusion page from their study in one of the exhibits here.
Why don't you tell us about the traffic study?
Sure.
Your name, please?
Sorry.
Your name?
Oh, Andrew Bowen with
Okay.
LOA. LaGrange Road is what's called a strategic regional arterial by IDOT.
Right.
So they have, on top of the regular warrants, extra strict criteria. So the amount of traffic that would be required to warrant a signal is very high. The amount of traffic that will be generated by the development is kind of low already, and it's not even close to those warrants. So they're pretty far from meeting those, like very far. So I can't tell you, like I have a table exactly, but I know that we're not even close.
Okay. And what about the impact on Ravinia and 159th Street? There's already a signal there, as we all know.
There's already a signal there, and the amount of the traffic that the development generates is going to be only a couple % of the amount of traffic going through that intersection. So it's not really going to change much. Costco already generates so much that,
Costco generates most of the traffic for that. 'Cause- Well, obviously Ravinia doesn't go through. Costco generates all the traffic from the south for that signal. Okay. So that answers the questions regarding traffic lights. There was a question regarding whether there was going to be a berm in the backyards. I don't think you're required under the ordinance to put a berm when you've got backyards of a single family, adjoining backyards of another single family.
Correct, but you can see we do have a landscape buffer along that eastern edge. And then also all those lots that do run on our eastern edge, R3 code, again, I think I mentioned this before, the minimum requirement, depth requirement is 125 feet. For these lots, we're at 150 feet deep. So there's actually additional space in these lots for the homes to be set back from the existing homes there. It provides enough area for us to create that landscape buffer along the eastern edge. Also, on the topography, the homes on the the existing homes are at a higher elevation than where our homes will be. So it's also just a difference in terms of actual elevation of the floor plans themselves.
Okay. I think we've answered all the questions. Okay, ma'am, you've got 3 minutes, and then you're the last one. Yes, ma'am. Raise your right hand and then give us your name and address.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you present tonight will be the
I
truth and
do.
nothing but the truth? Okay, just-
And my name is Susan Stratton. I live at 16141 Hillcrest Circle. I've lived in Orland Park 40 years, and I've had...
Okay, stop 1 second. Can you take that microphone and pull it down a little bit?
Is that better?
Well, now raise the microphone itself. There you go. Okay, you're
Okay.
good. Now we can hear you. Go ahead.
I'm 77 years old, and I had a starter house, and then we moved here 40 years ago and had a bi-level and raised our family, and then we moved just a half a block in Pondview Estates, where this project is going to be. And I would like to have a single-family home. I don't know if someday planning on a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, because I don't want homeowners association. I want my own house. I don't want to move out of Orland Park. I love Orland Park and all the stores and stuff like that. But we have trouble with our ponds too, because we're like a half a block from where you are. So I know the mold and all the disease and stuff like that, the respiratory problems and the eye problems. I'm an ex-nurse. So, I mean, I can go on and on. I hope I can finish all this kind of stuff. So I lived in Chicago at one time, and we had the Metropolitan Sanitary District, and I don't understand what's the difference of having a pond where you have rain off from your roof and all that going into it from the sanitary, because they started the sanitary district going down 151st Street when we first lived here in 1983, and I thought that was supposed to be for the sewer, for the rain off and all that kind of stuff. We lived in Village Square, and so there was a pond there. And why doesn't the Village of Orland Park maintain these ponds so you know it's done and you don't have to worry about if Costco's doing their job or not? Because Orland would do their job and stuff like that. I don't know. And if you pay taxes, just, Orland would be able to figure it out and hire the best people, because we have a pond and we don't have good people that are taking care of our pond. It's moldy all the time. Oh, let's see. So anyway, the dust and stuff like that. I imagine that the builder was going to be wetting the ground so that you don't have all this dust and stuff like that. But I would also like to know, is there any chemicals added to that? Because we don't want any respiratory diseases. It's just water with the state of Illinois. I don't know what they're doing with their stuff. Okay, so let's see. What else do I have? Oh dear. Is the homeowners association with this project only going to be for the parks and the pond? Because I would be interested in buying property there today. If you could build me a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, I don't care if it is, I shouldn't say how much money, but this is what I want. All one story, so it's wheelchair accessible. Our homeowners association have wonderful people, but there's always problems. You can't please everybody. So I do not. And I do not want a homeowners association, and that's what Orland Park seems to be coming to for their senior citizens who can't handle bi-levels. And I live in Pond View, which is all one floor, but we have a basement, and I do have a wheelchair ramp that goes downstairs, and I never go downstairs. That's where like a guest bedroom would be and stuff like that. I want something all on one floor, and I want it my own. I'm a second-born child. I want my own. I'm very possessive. And thank you very much. I learned a lot. I didn't know what kind of questions I was going to ask until I got here to find out these things. Thank you for hearing me.
Okay, thank you.
You did good.
Okay, I can answer part of your question, I think, and then we'll go to the commissioners. About half of the ponds in the Village of Orland Park are maintained by the village. The other half are maintained by homeowners associations. And that's just kind of the way it has gone. Sometimes it was a homeowners association, sometimes it was the village. About 7 years ago, the village changed their position and are now deciding that they are not going to be responsible for any ponds. So all of the ponds that are being constructed as of 7 years ago and right now and into the future, unless the village board changes their position, are going to be maintained by homeowner associations. At the same time they did that, they decided that any new projects that they approve will require a special taxing district that will be dormant unless the homeowners association does not maintain the ponds. At that point, the special taxing district called an SSA, isn't that right? The SSA would then come into effect. It would levy a tax amount collected by the county collector, and that would then be used to take care of the pond maintenance that the homeowners association neglected to do. So that's what the policy is going forward. Additionally, at the present time, the village is undertaking a study of every single pond in the village, whether it's village maintained, village owned and maintained, or homeowner owned and maintained. The ones that are maintained by a homeowners association, or it could be a business that has a pond that has to be maintained. They are getting letters that there's an issue with their pond, and they're being required to bring those ponds into up to code, bring it up to code. And the village has a plan with regard to the village-owned ponds to improve those. So within the near future, all the ponds will be addressed, and I think there's over 100 of them, if I remember right. There's a lot of ponds. Oh, 300, okay. 300 ponds, the attorney tells me. So that's the story on ponds. And if your homeowners association is not maintaining its pond, they have already received or will soon be receiving a letter that tells them to take care of the pond, dredge it if it has to be dredged, take care of the invasives that are around the edge. There's an invasive that this lady mentioned that gets into ponds. What's that stuff called? Phragmites. Phragmites is bad stuff. It grows like crazy.
Our Pond View Association gets the water from the pond to have the underground sprinkler system for everybody, and our sidewalks are green because of all the mold that comes out of the pond. And you're breathing that air in, so, and it's not that they're neglecting it because they are trying, they just haven't found a company that can help us. So, but if Orland Park can help us, the Pond View Association.
Okay, the pond, I'll give you a little hint here that has nothing to do with this development, but Pulte, I'm sure, will bear with me for about 30 seconds. Well, after we're done here, you can talk to them about the units you want to buy in their development. What was I going to say? Now you made me lose my train of thought.
Think you're getting on the LG, the pond and LG? You were starting to say something about the pond.
Yeah, oh, I know what I was going to tell you. If you're having trouble with the pond, you need to contact, Peter, what's the guy's name at Public Works? Tyler, what's his last name? Tyler Hartman is at Public Works. Just call the Public Works Department, ask for Tyler Hartman, and he's the one that is in charge of inspecting all these ponds and bringing all the ponds up to the proper standards. Okay, so we've heard a lot of questions. We've answered, hopefully we answered all of them. Now we'll hear from the commissioners. So Commissioner Sanchez, you're up first. Do you have any questions or comments to make?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My only question is for staff, and really around modification number 1. Obviously, we require lot widths of 80, and we're looking to go down to 75, 77, even up as low as 66. I know in the report you guys support the modification, but is there any concern with some of the smaller sizes there and being too dense at all?
So we looked at it multiple ways. I think the big picture thing here is that they are conforming to the lot sizes. So the minimum lot size is 10,000 square feet, and their lots are minimum 10, but going up to 16,000 square feet. And the depth of the lots, are, excessive of the 125 that we require. So in light of the size of the lots, we don't really have a problem with the minimal reduction in the lot widths.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you for that. Thanks. Besides that, I don't see I don't have any other questions. I think it looks like a nice development.
Commissioner Paul?
There we go. A couple of questions and some comments here. I know there's concern about traffic. 132 units, I'm not sure how much at any given time that's going to add. Let's say there's, for example, 200 drivers there. At any given time, how many of those 200 drivers are going to be at any one particular intersection? Probably not a lot. One thing we know that IDOT does is they react, they don't proact. Okay? They don't fix a problem until there's a problem. Big problem. We know that. I mean, that's how IDOT operates. They're not going to say, well, hey, we think that down the road we're going to have a lot of traffic because there's some new development here. Let's get a jump on it. Let's widen roads. Let's put traffic signals and let's do all these things now. They don't do that. They just don't. And they wait until it's like, oh my God, we got a problem. Hey, maybe we'll do something about it. That's just IDOT. And there's no way you could ever postpone a project saying, waiting for IDOT, because that's never going to happen. We wouldn't have anything built. But I understand where you're coming from on some of that thing. It was mentioned that builders do everything in their power to mitigate the debris and the dust. What exactly do you do?
My name is Matt Brawley. I'm with Pulte Home Company, Director of Entitlements. I'm going to pinch hit for our land development guy who's not here today. So a couple of things that we do have. So MWRD and the Village of the State has regulations as far as soil erosion control. We also have our own national standard, as Fabian said, but we also have individual lot requirements. So we'll have, it's not so much dust during like our mass grading exercises. This is while we're developing each individual lot, we'll have silt fence or silt logs around the perimeter of the site, each individual lot. When it comes to the mass excavation of the entire project, I believe that we can do some wetting. Chris, do you know specifically? We can do to keep the dust to a minimum.
Can you use what?
Just water.
Okay.
Essentially, yeah.
Okay.
During mass X, that's the extent of what we would do. We obviously have silt fence around the perimeter of the entire property, and then our wetlands. That's the extent of what's required and what we do.
Okay. And then one other question that I have about the water. So we're saying that Costco Pond can hold 20 acres at 75% impervious. And we're saying that, well, that's good because this is only going to be 45%. But if these folks are what they're saying is accurate, and I have no reason to believe it's not. Is it 0% impervious and it's not working? So how do we know that it's going to work at 45? And go ahead, I mean, let's hear your answer then.
So there's this thing called a runoff curve number, which is what takes into account the impervious area and whatnot. When you have a bare earth row crop field, that's got a higher impervious number actually than when you have good grass with homes. So when we looked at it with the existing condition, with the field and the woods that are there, you're running at a runoff curve number of about 84. And then when you look at with the homes and the roads and whatnot, you're basically at the same 84. So it's the same runoff curve number.
If that pond was up to standard, and I'm assuming the one on the south will be because it's going to be new, does that take care of the problem?
I can't speak to whether that existing Costco pond is up to standard.
If it was.
Yeah, if it wasn't,
If it was. If that was up to standard.
that's what it's designed for.
So you're saying that if that pond is up to standard, then we don't have anything to worry about.
Correct.
So how do we, staff, this is probably to you, before this gets started, because we like to proact, not react, we're not IDOT. So what can we do ahead of time to ensure that before a project like this begins, that that pond is up to standard so we don't have a problem later that we have to fix?
Yeah, so we could definitely reach out to the Costco owners and tell them to, bring their pond up to compliance. Right now, I know permits have been issued. These guys aren't going to build tomorrow, so we still have some time to have that communication, and we will.
These guys are talking about starting late summer. Is this something that can be done
I'll call them tonight.
by then?
Well, we've already studied it. I don't mean to overject, but I think before this advances to the board or committee of the whole, we should pull out this pond. I'm actually kind of surprised. I'm going to jump ahead. I can't believe we're here tonight and you can't unequivocally, before these people ask, know that that pond is up to standard. Pulte has every right to use 20 acres of that pond, and we're already saying we don't know, but yet we do know we've studied all the ponds in the village, and we have a new subdivision going in. And I don't mean to slight you guys or put you on the spot. You said I don't know like 4 times. I don't think because even if these people weren't here, I don't think that should be in a question. Pulte has every right to use this, and it's not their fault if the Costco pond's not up to snuff. And so if we decided it's up to snuff, then maybe we need a re-review. Or if we know it's not up to snuff, maybe this joins the top of the list. I didn't mean to jump off, but that's one of the things I was hearing since you're here, and I don't jump ahead. But I don't think it should be any doubt whether or not this pond's ready to go. Pulte's entitled to it, the people are entitled to it, and Costco, we all know, is one of the most profitable corporations in America. If they need to get this going, we don't need to wait.
So, you bring up a good point, and engineering does not maintain the ponds. It's public works. So we could definitely reach out. I'm not trying to push any blame on public works or anything like that, but we could definitely reach out to public works, and maybe the pond and their standard is compliant. Definitely something I can reach out to Tyler who kind of watches the ponds.
As Mr. Schuessler said, the board and the mayor have been very proactive on the ponds, and they already know before the reports. I think the attorney might know. I think 50% of the ponds are deficient. So that's why we did the study. We didn't do the study out of curiosity. We know the ponds, some have mud erosion, some are causing issues. We know that the creek in front of Silver Lake is a disaster. So we got Marley Creek at the back of this, and we can pretend that the water doesn't go forward or backwards and the Costco pond was designed right 20 years ago. But Pulte's entitled to have that answer before the village board, but we should look at the study that engineering did, and we should ask Public Works to review it. And I think both things, either it's deficient and moves to the top of the list, or if it's in compliance, does it need a re-review? But I find it appalling that, and not you, but just overall, that Pulte even doesn't have assurance that the pond's ready to go. I don't blame you, but we should have known that answer. And I'm out of turn, so it goes
All
back
right.
to him.
We've heard you now. Let's let Commissioner Paul finish.
Sorry.
Thank you. Again, I like this idea. I think it's a good use for the land. It's been vacant for a long time. This is, I mean, 132 single-family homes in the higher, more or less higher price range is a good thing. I want to support this, but I need to have some kind of assurance that before something like this goes off, that this pond thing is that we can be assured that not just these folks, but anybody, including the people buying into there, because it's another problem we don't want later, are not going to have flooding problems. What kind of assurances can we put in that we know that the Costco pond, we're relying on somebody else's pond now. This is kind of puts all of us in a bag, right? It's not your problem. It's not your problem, but it is. It's all of our problem. How do we know that that's going to get fixed ahead of time?
I'll try and respond. Before this goes to the Board of Trustees, assuming that you would recommend approval and having this project move forward, we can work with Tyler in Public Works and understand what the conditions report is for the Costco pond. It won't be fixed, but we'll at least know what Costco needs to do, if anything, to make sure that the pond is operating the way it should be to accommodate the Pulte development.
I can't imagine this is the first time we've had an issue with a pond. So what's the timeline been in other cases where a pond has not been up to standard? And
I think we've got the answer for you.
okay,
I just talked to our attorney, and she can, I think, explain what's going to happen with regard to engineering.
Well, I can explain a little bit about the approval process and how things get reviewed prior to the development going into place. So this body is a recommending body. They're here to talk about the special use and the modifications that have been requested by the builder. And their purpose is only to look at those items and make a recommendation to the village board on whether to pass those or not. Engineering always with stormwater management has to be finalized to code and to the standards of the Municipal Water Reclamation District. So those are two different standards with regards to stormwater discharge, flooding, et cetera, that get, as the project is finalized and approved, absolutely have to be in place before the development goes forward. So although that's a later stage in the approval process, that does happen before anything is built. And can you comment or affirm that?
well, that answers my question.
Yep, that's accurate.
Okay.
That's all I have,
So
Mr. Chairman.
we're looking at the other aspects of the project. And before they can start the project, the final engineering will have to be approved. It'll have to meet Water Reclamation District and village standards. And if there's a problem with the pond at that point, the project will get delayed until that's resolved.
And there may, and just to comment further, with regards to condition, that's not necessarily Pulte's responsibility. As we've discussed, there may be enforcement action that takes place separately and concurrently to the approval process. So one thing is not necessarily conditioned on another, and they can both proceed in parallel course.
Are you saying in so many words the village would come down on Costco and make them fix it?
So many words.
Okay. All right. Commissioner Nugent, do you have any comments?
I have a couple.
Go ahead.
Fabian, since you were first, couple things for you. Only because people brought up stuff and I'll ask more questions. And I'm extremely familiar with Glen Eagles. But the one thing I saw in your project going overall, and then when I saw your 7 floor plans and your 3 to 5 elevations and the optional 3-car garages, what percentage of the lots that you're proposing can actually have the 3-car garage option?
All of them. So we designed it to be able to fit a third car garage option.
And so with the village requirement where you can't exceed the amount of width, I know some, I don't mean this as a negative, but some of your homes are townhouse-like, they're vertical. So will there be too much garage in the front to do that?
There won't be, no. So for the third car,
Some of your lots are only like 62 feet though, right?
but then from the property setback line, and that's where the width dimension for our property, for the actual home lot comes in, those we comply and align with village code.
So your Glen Eagles, the homes that are center but east of your development, the first ones, they're like, don't mean it negative, standard. And then the stuff at the west is upgraded, right? It's like they're different classes, right?
It's 3 different products there, correct. This is one product type that we're offering here, correct.
Right, but like so when you're there, that first phase where the home, I don't know if it's first phase, but the phase where they're like center to your entrance,
Okay.
not a lot of 3-car garages there though, are there?
No, but again, for some of our different product types, for this community like Glen Eagles, or really anywhere, we're offering various, we call them stores. So in Glen Eagles, we have 3 stores. We have our duplexes, our meadows, and our estates.
Single families between the 2 classes.
Yep.
Again, not negative, the lesser class, a lot of those people are 2-car garages.
Yep. And so those are 2-car garages. Those don't have the 3rd car garage
Don't
option.
have the width, or people didn't choose them?
Our lots don't allow for that. And so if you want the 3rd car garage in that case, you can
My
select
number
one
one
of our
concern
larger
with the
lots.
project was the variance of the lot sizes. And Ed would know more, but I don't think we've given a lot of variances for going under 80 feet in a while, have we? I mean, staff's recommending it, but have we approved the single-family neighborhood with less than 80-foot wide lots in a while?
We haven't approved too many in the last 2 years. I don't recall. I don't think so, but I don't
Do
know.
we have any 8-foot lots in here?
They're all 75 feet minimum, but again, for what we're asking for is that 3 to 5 foot width reduction, but again, we're offering 10 extra feet minimum on the back and rear yard. So all of our lots are, as Sangeeta said, all over 10,000 square feet. The average lot size of our home here is actually closer to 12,000 square feet. So there is a slight reduction in the width, but again, it's resulting in larger rear yards and larger overall lots for residents. And again, I mentioned earlier on the density for this project. The net density for R3 is 2.4. The max allowed is 2.5 units per acre, per buildable acre, which is 139 units. And so in this case, even though we are asking for a slight reduction in lot width, we're still coming 7 homes under what we would be allowed by code.
You
for
are,
R3.
and it's great, and I appreciate it, and I understand it, but part of the reason why you're doing it is your southwest corner, you can't build on it. So you are stuck, and you made it a positive, which I agree. But if you take that out of it, it does feel, a little intense. But that's your main variance. You had said, Fabian, early on, that you were connecting Ravinia at 165th. Technically, you could drive. I mean, if I was at Costco, I could meander through your neighbor and come out at 165th. But as people point out, it's stupid. But technically, you're not connecting Ravinia at 165th. You're getting prepared for the future connection to 161st, right?
Well, there will be a potential future connection. I can't really comment on that, just since we're not developing that. But yes, we are. I mean, if you wanted to get from Ravinia to 165th, there is that road connection. We did also, one of staff's early comments, as also Sangeeta noted, was that a focus on serpentine roads and curvilinear roads here, just to allow for traffic calming. But I did just wanted to point that out, that at least in the comp plan, connecting A to B was called out in the village's future for this site, future vision for this site, and that is something that is.
No, but you or your people. But so where your park is, I just wanted to clarify something with you and that street. You said you guys were going to maintain that, but the actual park number, I know it has a letter, but the
F.
park.
Yep.
The park actually be maintained by the village, so won't it? Based on what the staff said?
Yes, maybe I misspoke, but the playground will be we're going to build it,
You're gonna
but then
build
we're
it.
going to dedicate it over to the village. The rest of the outlots we're going to be taking.
You're going to maintain the rest.
Yep.
And I didn't catch that you could walk through all them, and you guys deserve a lot of accommodation for that, or accreditation, whatever. That's very impressive that you pulled that off, so that is nice. So we're doing the stub street, but the stub goes to the Archdiocese property, right?
Yep, and so that is just, again, for a future development, if the property to the west is ever developed, I don't know, I can't comment on that, I have no idea if they're
Who's
looking to
selling the
sell.
property now, the Archdiocese, or? the
No,
Arch-
it's not even for sale, it's just, again,
No, the property you're buying, is this Archdiocese property now?
it used to be, it's currently owned by the Ukaipa Companies is who owns it.
Okay, so is there a reason to believe the Archdiocese is ever gonna sell the other land? Because I don't love the stub to nowhere unless, I mean, does anyone think the Archdiocese will never fill out the cemetery?
I can't comment on that.
Make you do that?
It was a comment from staff to pick that up.
Just in case it ever did?
Yes.
Okay, and then, even though you have your own green space and it could be open to anybody, and there is a park, technically, there's no parking anywhere other than the public streets, right? I didn't miss that?
No, there's no like stall parking or anything, no.
Okay. I'm good on you, if I could ask anybody else a question. Thank you, Fabian, that's impressive. I heard two different comments, anybody from Pulte. There is no retaining wall anywhere in this complex, is there? I heard the words retaining wall, but are you putting a retaining wall somewhere?
We are putting retaining walls in a few different spots on the property. None of the retaining walls are
Not
over.
abutting any of the townhomes and condos, right? Doing a landscape barrier, right?
We are, yeah. Chris can speak to this.
So there's, the topography on the site, there's 40 feet of fall from the east side to the west. So we will have tiered walls along the east side to
Oh,
get
with the
down.
landscape will be buried into the tiered walls?
Yeah, so there'll be landscaping, through the tiers and through the rear yards, because the walls won't take up the whole rear yards. You'll still have some area for landscaping.
Okay, I know some of the townhouse people were worried about it, but I already knew the elevation did that. So the gentleman that owns the large estate at the south end of their property, this is back to you guys, did they raise any concerns about this project? The people that will abut the pond on the south?
No, we haven't heard
It's like a
anything.
15-acre estate, isn't it?
That is right, but we haven't heard anything from them.
So he has no concerns that we have to worry about?
Not that we know of, no.
And then I don't know if you're an engineer or our village engineers, the back is all wetlands, and then some of it, what do you call that, running wetland? So we're gonna have wetlands and pond merging together, or are they separate in this large south parcel, D?
So,
He gonna serve as detention and, wetlands?
so it's two separate, they're both housed in Outlaw D. However, our detention is separate from the wetlands, and again, we're not impacting anything from the Area 4, which is Army Corps. We're not touching that.
Okay. And it's really not you, it's probably staff, but the family here in the front is, until they decide to sell, we're never connecting 161st, LaGrange, and Ravinia, because they own the connection, correct? Just so everyone is clear.
Yeah, that's correct, and that's an ongoing conversation to, with that property owner.
But as a follow-up, because it answers everybody's questions in Pulte, when PD's Bungalows property gets developed, because we knew that with the Pep Boys development, we're gonna force an exit, which will be 161st, are we not? So the PD's people are gonna exit at 161st. IDOT's not allowing another curb cut to 161st, correct?
Correct.
So we're gonna have the future development of PD's Bungalow be 161st Street with traffic going there. So the townhome people, where they're concerned, reality is they're concerned about this, but the real concern is gonna be following PD's Bungalows development, correct? Because now they have a straight shot to 97th Avenue, right?
Correct. And, like I said, that can't happen unless we have some kind of agreement with the
From
property
now,
owner,
yes.
right?
And I know PD's, like, before you have a road, it's gonna be 2 years, but whatever.
Yeah.
But that's its own issue. You're gonna have two dead ends meeting at their property.
161st, yeah, if you can zoom in maybe on a map and kind of see where that,
Because when people were concerned on the development with Pep Boys and their traffic, IDOT's not gonna allow another curb cut. They actually have to go to the front of the existing businesses and match up to a turn 61st. So IDOT's participating in a light at some point.
that's very conceptual right now. I mean, no plans have been submitted for that. That is a existing 161st road. So, curb cut, I'm not sure what, not tracking where, these curb cuts are coming in.
You're thinking right here, aren't you?
Yeah.
How about here?
No, just right under your finger. Yeah, that one, or,
All right.
yeah.
Right, and this wasn't approved, but this development, they have to use this frontage. And this is the anticipation of a light effort. IDOT's not allowing any more curb cuts for them.
Correct.
So everyone's worried about traffic. This will be where it happens, except this is theirs. Correct?
Yeah, and that can't happen unless we, like I said, we come to some kind of.
Because once that gets created, if and when, the Pulte's buyers will want to use 161st more than 165th. Right. That's what everyone's missing, but that's not currently developed, but that's around the corner. And the gentleman was right about here, 165th. Right. If I really want to exit, I got to go to the shopping at 163rd. This works fine for doing the exit. And for all the townhouse people, if you go over to Glen Eagles, that's a massive development. There's no traffic. There really isn't. I go to Lamont 3-4 times a week from Orland Park. I own property in Lamont. Glen Eagles is huge. It's 3 times as big as this probably. It's like, doesn't anybody ever leave? But I go by there, there's never traffic. So when they have these homes, they're gonna go to 165th, they're gonna go the other way, but they're not gonna go through the townhouse.
Sir, that's not before us tonight. We're just dealing with the Pulte development. That's the only thing.
But they'll all merge together at some point. No, but 161st is down the road.
John, let's not debate.
Right,
Okay.
I understand, okay.
You have anything else?
Yes. So engineering-wise, okay, 167th, all the properties that are along there, they all do this, right? And Marley Creek is not really a straight line. And we seem to ignore the whole idea, but Marley's here, but isn't everything behind the office condos on 165th and behind all the properties on 167th, isn't all that floodway and all that now? Where does all that water go in bad rains? Does it go into what's gonna be their park and pond?
Yeah, that's correct, and they also,
Doesn't that all go north now? And now as we're gonna
overland
take
flow, yes. It goes,
70% of the subdivision is gonna go south, but everybody on 167th going this way, and the office condo is gonna go north, and it's all gonna go to the ponds that they're gonna maintain, right?
and they propose underground storm sewers to allow that for storm water.
Right, so it'll be like Schussler Park and all that, there's gonna be plenty of new stuff that will absorb all the stuff. Is the natural grading of that 70% already going south? Or are we redirecting
On
it?
top of my head, I don't have the plans in front of me, but, sure, it will work out. Yeah.
Okay,
No, we're not redirecting.
so it naturally goes south now, right? So really, you're gonna improve it, it's gonna actually be better.
Actually, to the south, we're going to have roughly a 96% reduction in peak flow,
Okay.
from like 200 CFS to 9.
Does Marley Creek in your studies overflow to you guys now?
Yeah, there's floodway.
It's all floodway, right?
Yeah. It's all
Okay.
studied.
Okay.
Is that it, John?
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Zapparelli?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have to say, thank you, everybody. Sharon, thanks for coming, because I did not realize that Costco's retention was overflow. I didn't know we had a problem there. Well, and thank Pulte for bringing this, bringing this to light, because we will get it taken care of now. But my question is to the engineer. We're probably getting a lot of runoff from that field, bringing dirt into the Costco. Costco's been, almost 20 years now. So I imagine just over the 20 years, we've had bad runoff into there.
When they dug it out, they never put any planting along the perimeter.
Okay.
So all of the sides that were dug out, you could just see it, it just was eroding in. There was no vegetation to hold that soil in place.
So that's a beautiful thing. We should get this taken care of. And like you said, you're not really breaking ground until the end of summer, fall. So I think we have some time here to get that. Because I like the project, but I don't like flooding. And I've been in Orland Park since '64. And I've seen a lot of growth, and it's been interesting to watch. But sometimes I scratch my head with some of the developments. But when this one came along, I'm like, I like it. I don't think the cemetery is ever going to move, though. I don't think we're going west.
Yeah, that's a
with
pretty
this.
quiet neighborhood there, isn't it?
Yeah, they're dying to get in. Oh,
Trying to get in here.
sorry.
Well, we,
No, it's Costco's, I believe it.
Okay, is there anything else?
Yes, I do. So, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. We're not supposed to have a really conversation, but that's okay. Next thing, this is for the staff. It said, and it's vehicular circulation, traffic calming measures to prevent cars from speeding through the neighborhood or becoming a shortcut. What does that mean?
So basically, we recommended this serpentine layout. We just didn't want the streets, this main thoroughfare here to become a shortcut between.
Right? Is that what we're talking?
So, yeah, exactly. So it could have been just a straight shot, kind of bisecting the entire property, but we kind of made them introduce some curves in there and just as a measure to prevent people from just driving through the neighborhood to get from point A to point B. So now they'll have to deal with the curves in the road, and they'll probably just go over to LaGrange to head down south.
But now the Hummingbird people could actually cut through here up 165th and drive through there to get to Costco, and vice versa if they want to get to LaGrange. So it's just more of an inconvenience kind of thing. But once this family sells their property or does whatever, we'll get Ravinia through. That's the hope and pray eventually. That'll get all cleaned up.
Correct.
And we're not going to put, what was the word? Traffic calming measures on Ravinia. This is just for the subdivision.
This is just for the subdivision, you're right.
I just want to make sure.
Yep.
I hate it when we do that on roads that I think should be boulevards. All right, what else? Actually, we hit IDOT on the Grange Road. I agree with you on some lights, but that's not this developer's issue. It definitely takes a while for them to put lights where we need them, but I think it's a good development, and I'm glad to see it come. So, good luck to you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I have a couple of quick questions. Fabian, what is the purpose of Outlot B? What will be on Outlot B?
So that's just an entrance landscape area. It's also going to house our monument sign, our entrance sign.
It looks like your monument sign's on A, isn't it? I'm talking about B.
No, our monument sign is on B.
It's on B? What's
It
on
is.
A?
No, it's on B.
A is just a small, another small landscape
Landscape
monument,
area.
just a buffer, nice entrance point.
Are there retaining walls around the pond, D? Outlot D, are there going to be any retaining walls around D? And if so, how high are they going to be?
Yes, there are retaining walls along the east side. They're tiered. I don't remember if they're 4 or 3 foot, 3 foot. So be 6 feet tiered.
Okay. Well, that's easier to maintain than a 6 or 7 foot high wall. There's a pond, 161st Street. There's like a play school there, and there's a bridal place. Behind that building, there's a pond on how you don't want to do it. I think those retaining walls are 7, maybe 8 feet high, just solid.
We're definitely tiering our walls.
Yeah, okay, all right, good. Couple of other quick questions. What is an emergent wetland? What does that term mean? You referred to that F being, or D being an emergent wetland adjacent to Marley Creek. What is an emergent wetland?
Good evening. Scott Braco with V3 Companies.
Which company?
V3.
V3, okay. Oh, yeah, you've done a lot of work in Orland Park.
An emergent wetland is a vegetated lowland area that meets the 3 criteria to be named a wetland.
Okay, thank you. Okay, why is there going to be a fence around the park?
That was staff's request, and so we're happy to design it to cities.
Why? Staff, why are you asking for a fence around the park?
So Public Works, when we talked to them about the park, the playground, I think that was something that they brought up.
Who brought it up?
Public Works, and they gave us a specification for a fence that they'd like to see on the sites where the playground abuts a public street. Just kind of a safety measure.
Okay.
So we don't have kids just.
Safety measure, okay.
Right.
Okay, we talked about the stub street. I'm surprised you got that by Public Works because they hate stub streets. They're hard to plow. You can't turn the machine around.
Right.
But they went along with it because it was a short stub street.
That's correct.
All right. Those were my only questions. I'm impressed with the fact that your average lot size is, what did you say, 12,000?
Just under 12,000.
And your density is below the maximum. So I think your request on the footage of the lots in the front is reasonable. I don't see any problem with that. I think it's a good development. People usually who live don't want to see more development, but there's going to be development. We can't tell Pulte that they can't develop their land because somebody lives adjacent to it and they like to look at the birds. I remember when I first got elected to the village board, and I'll tell you real quick, and then we're going to vote. We had a developer come in, similar to Pulte, farmland. I think it was like, I want to say 40 acres, 60 acres, something like that. Nobody came to the meeting except two people, husband and wife. And developer made his presentation, and we asked, and I was on the village board, it had already gone to the plan commission. We'd asked if anybody had anything to say, and husband and wife said, yeah, we're against this. Okay, why? Well, we live here, the property is here, and we like looking out our back window over that farm field. When did you move in? 4 years ago. And who'd you buy your property from? The developer? Oh, so it was all right for somebody to develop that farmland where your house is, for you to buy that house, and for you to live in Orland Park, but you don't think anybody else should have the right to live in Orland Park because you don't want anybody living behind you? Yeah, they said, yeah, that's right. We approved it unanimously. So the bottom line is, until all the farmland is developed in Orland Park, there are going to be builders like Pulte who come in and ask hopefully reasonable requests, and yours is, and they're going to get approved if the request is reasonable. Personally, I think this is a reasonable request. You meet every requirement except one small one, which is the front footage, but you're doing other things like putting in a walking path, larger lot sizes. The lots that back up to the existing subdivision are longer and lower density. I think it's a good development. So with that said, I would entertain a motion to approve or disapprove this proposal.
Mr. Chairman?
Chairman, Commissioners Operelli.
Thank you. Regarding case number 2024-0676, also known as the estate at Ravinia Meadows, staff recommended to accept and make findings of fact as discussed at the Plan Commission meeting and within the staff report dated January 3rd, 2025.
Second.
And staff recommends the Plan Commission approve special use permit for planned development for estates of Ravinia Meadows, subject to the following.
Which motion are you making here?
That's it.
Okay. So you move to approve the staff recommended action as presented in the staff report?
Correct.
Okay. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Roll call. Let's see. Commissioner Zamparelli?
Aye.
Commissioner Sanchez?
Aye.
Commissioner Paul?
Aye.
Commissioner Nugent? Just aye your name.
I'll do I, because I don't want them to have to go to comprehensive, but I feel it's dense, so, but it's I.
And I vote aye. It's unanimously approved. Thank you, gentlemen. And for the people who had comments, we will follow up with the village staff to address the Costco pond, which is, seems to be an ongoing problem. Okay. I think we need to take a short recess here. So I would entertain a motion for a 5-minute recess.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to take a 5-minute recess.
Oh, before we do that, let's make a motion to close public hearing.
Yep. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to close public hearing. What was that number?
2024-0676.
Thank you.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Okay, moved and seconded. We don't need a roll call. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
Mr. Chairman?
5-minute recess.
Could I ask you a question?
Okay, our 5-minute recess is over. And the next item on the agenda is to open a non-public hearing regarding
Appearance.
Dave's Hot Chicken appearance review appeal. So I'd entertain a motion to do that.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Zamparelli.
I'll make a motion to open 2024-0587, appearance review appeal for Dave's Hot Chicken, updating building elevation.
Is there a
and
second?
Branding.
Second.
Commissioner Paul, okay. Commissioner Zamparelli?
Aye.
Commissioner Paul?
Aye.
Commissioner Sanchez?
Aye.
Commissioner Nugent? Aye. I vote aye. Okay, is there anybody in the audience from representing Dave's Hot Chicken?
No.
I see nobody in the audience at all. So at this time, I'd entertain a motion to continue it. How long, Ms. Attorney?
We'll be continuing to the January 20th, 21st, January 21st, Plan Commission meeting.
Okay, so would somebody please make a motion to continue it to the January 21st Plan Commission meeting?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Paul?
I move that we continue the appearance review for Dave's Hot Chicken, update building elevations and branding amended to the next meeting on January 21st.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Commissioner Paul?
Aye.
Commissioner Zamparelli?
Aye.
Mr. Nugent?
Aye.
Commissioner Sanchez?
Aye.
I vote aye. Okay, motion in order to adjourn at this point. Well, wait, are there any questions for staff regarding the memo concerning new petitions? If not, then I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move that we adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned at 9, what is that? I get
9:07.
9:07.